Hey guys, Andrew Esquivel here, back with some more fishy-based information. What we're looking at right here is a type of algae that's known as green bush algae. Now, I want to talk about this because this type of algae is particularly annoying. And it's good to note that it is not always green, sometimes it is red. So that would be red bush algae. Now, the problem with this type of algae isn't that it's harmful or anything. The problem with it is it can be kind of unsightly and almost nothing eats it. Any type of snail and general fish or any fish that's known to eat algae generally does not eat it, with the exception of maybe a Chinese algae eater, which generally is not an option because you tend to see these build up on sponge filters, and if you got a sponge filter and like what I have, which would be a shrimp tank, you don't put something like a Chinese algae eater or a Siamese algae eater in here. So that wouldn't work. The only real way to get rid of this stuff is they make a special anti-algae sort of medication that specifically targets red or green bush algae. So that's just one of the issues you face with in a shrimp tank. And one of the things to remember about this type of algae is that it tends to grow a lot easier and a lot faster in hard water. Now, this water right here is very hard. This is Illinois hard water, straight from the well. Then that's what I use for all my fish and shrimps and whatnot, because they all require hard water. And as a side effect, on all my sponge filters, I get that stuff. And yeah, it's a little annoying, but the real problem happens when it grows too much and it starts to prevent water from being sucked in through the sponge and coming through the outlet. At that point, you really got to start thinking about trying to control it. Now, what I do is I just go in there and just grab it, pull it right off. And yeah, okay, this is probably a really primitive way of going about it, but if you're just looking to restore some water flow to your sponge filter, if this stuff starts to become a problem, there's also the issue of it falling out of your hands and possibly spreading. You don't want that. That's the stuff right there. Yep. It's a pain to deal with, and look at all the patches I just pulled out. I was just working on that one over there. Yeah, it looks like a guy who's going bald. But yeah, it's one of the hardest types of algae to get rid of. Because like I said before, nothing really eats it. Snails don't bother with it, most fish don't go for it, and shrimp, some people say a mono shrimp will eat it, but I find that to not be the case. I've done some research, and a lot of people with the monos say that's not true. So I can't personally say that it's not true, but according to the research I've done, apparently that's not the case. So I just wanted to make a little video about it because there's a lot of people with shrimp tanks, and when they see that type of algae, they're not quite sure what it is. So, yeah. And don't forget to say hi in the comments to Little Poof. My little poofler fish. Hi, Poof. He's a good fish. Anywho, yeah, so hopefully that helps you out if you end up having that stuff. There's some medication on Elevate Shrimp that specifically targets bush algae types. So if you need something to get rid of it, try looking into them. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys.